Okay, folks, welcome back. All right, now it's interruption free, and this is where we're at. These are the first two vehicles that we're working on. Waifu Warfare, or whatever the hell it's called, with a little laser that's going to go on it, and Whiplash. And Whiplash has the black lining done to it, and it looks dramatically different. It looks dramatically better. It actually looks really, really good. And that's all we've done to it. So it is kind of a huge vehicle for a buggy. It is kind of a huge vehicle for a buggy, but... And somehow this... We have some uppity wheel that still likes to turn, so... it probably took some jolting because we ended up using the little... to take the writing off the side of it. The writing on the side of it said Matchbox. It's actually Hot Wheels with Matchbox wheels. The Hot Wheels are they're almost the same diameter, pretty close. And it's funny. This actually looks like a vehicle that would have smaller wheels up front and larger ones in the back, but they don't. They all have the same size, but they were like racing slicks. They weren't even that much tire. They were really low profile racing slicks. So it looks a lot better. You see there's a little bit of gold here. That's going to get eliminated. It's just going to be all slinging mud and shit looking. This is actually a plastic body. And we have to design this one. This one is not designed yet. So we're almost ready for another round of ammo. Got about 20 of these left out of a 75 pack. Yeah, we've gone through a lot of them, that's for sure. Gone through a lot. Let me see how much this epoxy is going for. What is this? DevCon 5-minute epoxy. I need to order some more, and I'm gonna end up forgetting. DevCon 5-minute epoxy. $16.99. I think the Bob Smith Industries is a little bit cheaper. It takes an extra 2 days to get here. I might buy the Bob Smith one instead. I've gone through a pair of tubes of this stuff. But if it sits on somebody's shelf for a long time, I don't know how you can tell how long it's been sitting on a shelf. But this has been indoors and everything. So this is actually fine, the hardener. It's the actual resin that's kind of thick. I'm going to go ahead and put this upside down. And because I have to scoop this stuff out, but it's still reacting okay. Let's just wait off on ordering it. Let's hold that one upside down and see if it's just really weird that happened. As a young adult, I had really bad luck with epoxy. You'd get those syringe type, and they would sit there and they had been on a shelf for a long time, and it just didn't work well. But the two where you can adjust how much is in each one, I've had really good luck with them. All right, so we need to design Whiplash. That's what we're going to call it for now. It's got Jungle Whip written on it. Okay, Whiplash is a buggy. Okay, which means it's going to be 6 points, and it's going to have 2 build slots. Okay, and it's going to be a 27-point vehicle. That's what we're aiming for. And, you know, we're going to put some mesh here across the front. Not necessarily on the side, but definitely across the front. I don't want to cover over this Jungle Whip decal that's on there. It's kind of nice. So, you know, we could put some guns up here or guns up here or something like that. But I feel like it's going to need a skill. So let's go up in the rules here. And this guy's going to be for the Dune dudes. That's what we're going to call them for now. Dune. Dudes of the Dune. You know, surfers, beach bums, and other associated people that like to hang out in the sand. Sand peoples. All right, so let's get over here to the rules. And let's look at the categories. Aggression, probably not going to be aggression. Badass, probably not badass. It's not built. We could do barrel roll on it. Let's do barrel roll. Barrel roll is 2 points. I'm going to do handbrake artist on this. I don't think I have another buggy with handbrake artist. But, you know, that's part of the whip. It can just whip around. Handbrake artist. Okay, that's going to be 3. So now we're at 11. I don't want it to have a turreted weapon. It doesn't look like something that would have a turreted weapon. Okay? So if that's the case, then let's kind of reserve 10 points for the weapons. Okay? That'd be 2 large weapons, whether it's rockets or a minigun or something like that. We're going to reserve 10 points over here. Okay? So you put 10 points on reserve, and then we've got 15 points here. We still have 2 more points on the whiplash. Okay? On the to use. I want to give it power slide too. It's going to be like whipping all over the place. Power slide. Power slide is 5 cans. Damn it, I said it, 5 points. This is 10, this is 16. You got 11 left. So let's go down to weapons. And let's see what we got weapon-wise that would fit the look of this. I don't think it's going to have a laser. I don't think it's going to have one of these long shotguns. It could be any number of weapons. It kind of would have to be like this. honest, it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look terrible at all, actually. It doesn't look bad at all. It sits on there quite proper. Okay. Where's the tweezers at? It's not going to have a ram. The M60s will work with the whole jungle thing, but I've got more military-looking vehicles that could mount an M60 on them. That'd be okay, except I really don't want to cover up the decals. It's kind of cool. This is an old 3D printed thing. It's a shame that this is kind of like an obvious turret, because these things have, well, maybe not on this vehicle, but there's lots of vehicles they would actually fit well on. Man, these fenders are great for like mounting weapons. You put like a pair of double lasers or something on there. It's just not futuristic enough for that. It's going to look very... those little guns are so useful on so many other things. You could put one like that. Oh, these are all the same configuration? No. They make them of both kinds. They make both kinds of these. Let's do something. We're ready to do this. Let's see. This is overdue. This has been overdue, what I'm about to do. We need to adjust the seat. You go high into the sky. Actually, I'm gonna fuck up my neck doing this. Let's go to the other chair. Clean up the few things that are here. There isn't too much that's here. Let's turn this thing around. It's gonna want to close on me. Come on. We don't need that. Okay, now on this side, we can adjust this chair, this table, way the fuck down. Alright, so what we're going to do is, we need to sort all our weapons. It's just taken too long to get through stuff. And I've actually put up with it for longer than I should have. Okay? I have 2 of these. Including the new ones. So I think before 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I got 12 in the other one. So before I start randomly putting them in places, let's find what categories these things can go in. Okay, let me grab my coffee. Because we're going to do a lot of stuff in the next week, for sure. Now, we're not going to worry about this laser that's out here. Okay? Not worried about that. And we'll put weapons in these 2. And the last one down there, we can put like all the parts like the mesh and stuff like that I have. Okay, so it's got a larger compartment in there. All right. So let's dump this. Let's get rid of that. All right. And I think I can actually jack this up a little bit more. Okay, so things that are going to be armor pieces and accessory pieces, we're going to put over in this pile. So like this is an electromagnetic gun, right? So that's a weapon. This is a ram. Random things here. Let's actually do shit. The other side's darker. It's going to be easier to see. Well, electromagnetic. A ram. A ram. Ram. Accessorial pieces. Turret weapons. MG. Flamethrowers, these long ass things. And we'll put all the Russian weapons in one place. Rockets. Where do we put the laser? Yeah. Laser. Ram. Turrets. What did I do with the coffee? I didn't bring it over here. I do have baggies, but it's too difficult to go through them. And by the time I put them in baggies, I might as well put them in these containers that I'm not using for anything. Rockets. Because I kind of want to place an order, but I kind of want to use what I have. I have a lot of stuff, but I have a lot of the same kind of things. Here's a couple of clown car weapons. Okay, another accessory here. Turret. I haven't used a single one of those turrets. Flamey things. Flamers! Rockets. Miniguns. I've come to peace with the fact that I'm going to end up having a lot of weapons that might be a minigun. It's irrelevant what it looks like to a certain degree. Like, this could be a minigun in the game. It just, it does the same kind of damage as a minigun. It honestly looks like a big shotgun. Okay, what is this little piece? A nothing burger, okay? Nothing burger extra sauce. MGs, laser weapons. Minigun. This is another laser. Flammenwerfer. Turreted. Because there's some of this stuff that's just, it's not very useful. Like, these guns are great. They look great, but they're like flamethrowers. It's like, okay, well, just flamethrowers aren't that useful because of the way that they behave in this game. MGs, laser, rockets. Like, I'm really low on rockets. That's like one of the things that, if I needed to get something, it would be rockets. MG. I think this is a flamethrower. MG. Put the Russian ones over here. Nobody gets to use the Russian ones, other than the Russians, at this point. I have lots of these guys here, which they're super handy. That's an AK. Or an AK variant. A lot of these little electromagnet things. Like, I don't need any of those. And it's not that I don't like the weapon. It's just that when you play, look, here's another one. When you play with it, it's, no, this one's a little different. This is actually a laser. No, that's right. These electromagnet things, they just take up too many build slots. It's like, so you got to put them like on a war rig or something like that. What? This is super readers. Yeah, the baggy system isn't working well anymore. Flamethrower looks like a shotgun flamethrower. Okay, armor stuff. That's turreted. This is a Flammenwerfer. These are MGs. That's an MG, that's an MG, that's an MG. This technically is a RAM, but really probably should be an accessory. Another clown. What are the clown weapons over there? That's an MG. Here's another one. Nice looking one too. Rockets, definitely low on rockets. Definitely low on these things to go on the windscreen. Let's get the garbage can over here. There shouldn't be any loose stuff. I normally don't leave weapons laying about. Okay. I was going through your agreeables and I found most little rockets in a RAM, but I don't want a RAM on the cars I have. They're really unbalancing, or they can be. The next time I play, and I don't know when that is, the next time I play, I'm going to try to I think that's actually for built cars, for one of the clown cars. I don't know what it's doing there. I'm going to try and make weapons active in the second gear phase. Or the second turn. So in other words, everybody go through 1. Everybody go through 2, 3, 4, 5. And then whether or not you're through the gate, bam, it's activated. And just see how that works. Okay? Empty bags. I got so many fucking empty bags. Okay, these are weapons of machine guns of Britain. I'll put them here, but I don't think I'm going to mix them in with everything else. Armor accessories. Yeah, see, here's a weapons build for one of the clown cars. I don't know why it's here and not with it, but this stuff is all going together. Okay, these are rams. I'm going to take these out and put all the rams together. I don't want them in baggies anymore. Had enough, eh? Yep, I've had enough. And I'm going to have one for weapons and one's for like accessories and stuff. So like these accessories, like they'll all be in there. Oh, we got futuristic fucking weapons. Hey you! Put on your parachute before you show up on the channel, man. Hey you! All right, right off the cliff with you. Yeah, these big ass bolts. Okay, these are like wacky weapons here. We got like a napalm launcher or something like that. A laser, another laser, another laser. Some weird device, another weird device. That's probably a laser, something like that. It's like a double laser. Okay, another one. Okay. Probably need to start doing futuristic type builds. Okay, these are all turreted, so they're all going to go here. They already look like they're turreted. If you use them as a non-turreted thing, you're going to be confusing people. These should all be rams. I need to place an order, I think, tonight. And I need to get kind of like a good grasp of what I have. Like, I don't need any more rams. Okay? Here are these barrier walls that kind of suck. They're too small. These are these little shark fin looking armor pieces. I don't think I've used a single one. Don't really like the way they turned out. They're 3D printed and they're not well made. That's probably the worst stuff I bought. But, you know, they can't all be winners. Okay, this is like dropped weapons and things like that. This is just going to take a little bit of time, maybe 30 minutes, and then we'll be right back on track. Okay, here's the tank tracks and a big wall of amplifiers and more tank tracks. These are all like accessories. These need to be like in a big, that's a RAM, so is that. There's a RAM. This is probably not a RAM. I have a lot of stuff, but I've used a lot of stuff too. RAM, this falls under rockets. I'm not sure what the hell this is. This looks like a wing, but the wing's kind of like on fire. I don't know what to make out of this. I don't know what to make out of that. This is going to be an accessories. We've got a couple of rockets here on the wing, so we got that. Another one of those. This is a Flammenwerfer. And none of these have weapons, so they're all going to be kind of over the accessories. That's a RAM, that's a RAM. These are all RAMs. This is a machine gun. And there's some random weapons there. Armor plate shit. Okay, so we said the first one had 12. So if we put this in 1, 2, 3, this can be in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, one of them can be weapons. Okay, I think they're all about the same size. They are all the same size. All right, so we're going to put the Russian ones. Let's put the Russian ones in the back. Okay. We'll put the standard machine guns. This is one of the most useful ones. Now let's put the British one there. Okay. Let's put the standard machine guns here. Put the flamethrowers here. Miniguns here. Laser weapons here. Now the Rams looks like it takes up the most space. And then the clown weapons here. Rockets. I think we're done with this. All right. This one is just like that one, right? Except we have a really big container up here. You have a really big container right there. And I have one more. What's that one like? This one has all the, we're going to put all the accessories here. There's just a shitload of them, and it's easy to look through them in there. So maybe hold off on using this one. At all. And then, which other one of these do we have that's rammed? This is dividable. Ram should fit in here just fine. I'm going to throw all these accessories. Oh, good. And it can't slide underneath the other one. For the time being, this will help tremendously. Just rando stuff. Okay. We'll put all these rams here. And what do we got here? Armory things. This is technically accessories. Bunch of extra wangs. Drop weapons. I don't know what that goes to. Okay, now we are in business. I'm going to put this stupid jersey wall. It's too damn small. I thought it'd be, I thought these sections would be like this long, not like a third smaller than I thought they were. I'll probably use them for something. They'll probably paint up just fine. It's just I was expecting A and got Q instead. Okay. Now, one other thing I'm going to go ahead and do. All my mesh and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and put it in as well. Is that all of it? I picked up this area this morning, but I need to pick it up again. And I'm not a neat freak, but I don't want to go crazy. I don't like living in chaos. Chaos is fucking evil all the time. So we're gonna shift back over to this other side. We're gonna go ahead and pick up all these things. They're in the way. Because I'm pretty sure we're going to get these two cars done before we stop. We'll leave Glulandia out here. let's switch back over. Now I don't have that many loose tires laying around from cars broken down. I kind of like to use the tires that the vehicle comes with, because otherwise I have to remember what the hell they go with. Well, honestly, it looks like I have a lot less stuff than I thought I did. And I got plenty to work with, but just looking through it kind of gives me an idea of where we're sitting on a lot of this. All right. All right. Now, let's bring this chair over here. And now we can put these things here. So, where the hell were we? We need a couple of machine guns. Alright, so I'm going to go in the machine gun box. I do not want them to be turreted. I do not want them to be Russians. I don't want them to be the British ones. Not flamethrowers is basically this box here. Or if I wanted to use a minigun, but I don't have two matching. Actually, I do. I do have two matching miniguns. That's a little too powerful. How about rocket category? Well, these little rockets would honestly be perfect. But we're going to end up covering over the roof if that's the case. So we could do rockets would use 2 build slots. We're done. Damn it! I hate that. I hate that. I really hate that that happens. Now, there's not really any... Well... Let's look at this thing. These are the ones made by... This little set of stuff right there. Those were made by the folks that did Autokill. Or they still make Autokill, I guess. Which Autokill, I think, is a little bit more realistic than this hokey game. Let's put this back. Let's not get down that slippery slope. Okay? Right where the missiles go. We could put a couple of guns and somehow hide them in here somewhere. That would also work. Some of these are like hidden gun type things. Like these are made to, like, you know, they're little squares, and they're made where you can... I just don't know what the hell they would attach them to. I know we were originally talking about putting a couple of these shotgun looking things. Do you have a male and a female? Both of those are the same. Both of those are the same. No, they both swing the same way. So this little catch for the ammo feeds the same way, like it goes in there. I would have liked to have done, you know, the same thing and have this little feed and the ammo that way. Because this actually looks all right there. Now, with that said, I could just remove this and put it there anyways, and I don't know anybody will be the wiser. It just looks a little too... It looks a little too heavy ordnance. I don't think I'm gonna use them. This is too long, isn't it? Yes, I like it saying Jungle Whip on it. I could cut some of... No, that's not going to work. That's not going to work without too much modification. These are great, but they're also great to use on smaller cars. It's kind of tinkering. I don't mind doing this. If it sounds like I'm frustrated, I'm not. This is like cool how to... And this thing turned out great with the black lining. I mean, it looks amazing. Considering that's just plastic. That's just red fucking plastic. It's not even painted. It's not even painted. About one of these double weapons. The problem is that they're turreted. I mean, I don't mind cutting these things off and not using the turret. In the turret, you could use it for something else. But I've got nowhere I can hide these gun pods in. Well, I'll tell you what. When I run into a problem, what I do is I move on to something different. This is going to have mesh on it. So let's knock this mesh out. Okay. So we need to have mesh go across the front of this thing. No, which one's the coffee? This one. Okay. So now those of you guys that have watched this show a lot, what's your least favorite car that I've done? Ah, there we go. Not the favorite one. What's a car that I've done? You're like, man, that's stupid. I wish you hadn't done that. Or like, that's not really my sort of thing. I have a couple that if I have to put my finger on them that I like the least, it's definitely them. Let's see if we've got a piece of mesh that's already cut. Here's some other pieces. Oh, we got this. This needs to also be in here in the armor zone. Well, we know where those are. This will work its way to the armor zone. What the fuck does this go to? Oh, this is the Audi, isn't it? It's a good looking Audi. 1973 BMW 3.0 CXL. It's a good looking car for 1973. Probably cost a small fortune. I prefer Audis to BMWs. I think they look better. Some BMWs look great. Some look not so good. And they're all not affordable as far as I'm concerned. You know, only the Normans can afford those. Okay, I like these little designs that are on here. I'm going to keep these little like droplets on the bottom. I'm going to keep these droplets. We can go ahead and lose this because there's no more of these drippings going on here. And we can use our cutting board because it doesn't cut really well against this. There's airspace in it. And man, we haven't replaced this in a long time. I think it's high time to do that. As soon as I can find what a little box of the extras is. Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'll use this box. I don't know where the hell this came from. All right, if I want to keep these little droplets on there, I'm just going to cut across this. Okay. Now we have a reasonable height. And if I keep this size at this side as is, man, it's really early. Well, the problem is I ended up stopping this morning to see the girls off, and I stopped a lot earlier than I would have normally stopped. So it's about 2 hours earlier than I think it is. Okay, so we want to use whole units. We're going to go to there. We may still have to trim this a little bit. And we do. So width-wise, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of it here. Man, why is this? I'm getting Shadow City. Okay. That's much better. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit there. And we'll come over to this part and take a little bit of that diamond off as well. Okay, now we'll see what this looks like side to side. And that's perfect. All right, I want it to lay like that. So I want to cut half of this run up here. So I want to cut through here. Okay, and let's see how we're looking like height-wise. Like that. And I don't think I need to cover the sides. Okay, so let's get our little buddy. Is that cleaned up enough for me? It is. Let's get our little buddy. This thing worked really well yesterday. I think it was yesterday. That's the only mesh I'm going to put on it. I'm going to leave this open inside. It looks decent. And I'm going to go ahead and paint. Most of this gold will be. That's a reminder what I really came to do. Paint this little gold trim around it. That's got no place. And it's visually distracting. It looks a lot better like this than it does having that little bit of gold detail. There's nothing else on it that's gold, so it's like it doesn't belong. Did you use the Abbas stuff for spraying with craft paint? Yes. Yep. Yeah, and of all the stuff that I've airbrushed, the hardest stuff to airbrush with anything is the primer. The primer is the biggest bitch. It's a pain to do. It jams and it's like you push it a little bit more, too much comes out, all that nonsense. It's not a big deal. It's a pain in the ass compared to the other stuff. The Atom paint by far was the best one that behaved the best. Then the Vallejo, or really the other Ammo Mig stuff, the best. Then Vallejo, then craft paint, and then primer. Even the Games Workshop worked fine. You know? The Boss stuff made a huge freaking difference. Huge. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't ever have to stop to clean the damn thing out to put it back together to continue with the color. Like, I'll stop and clean it when I'm, like, done with it. Or I'm going to switch needles. And that's fair. You know, having to stop. Yeah, you don't like how that is, do you? You are being a pain in the arse. And I told the guy, I said, listen, your mix made me not quitting airbrushing, but making it something I didn't look forward to. That's really what it is. It was just something I wasn't looking forward to. Like, oh, fuck, I got to airbrush again. You know, I don't have that attitude. I'm just going to let that sit upside down a little bit. And he actually didn't know that it worked on craft paint stuff. I tried it. I was airbrushing some snow on my felt thing for my snow mat, and it worked pretty good. But I still feel like every time I airbrush, I learn something new. It's not user friendly. It's just so It's so much more difficult than hand painting. So much more difficult than hand painting. Well, hand painting, for starters, you never make a mess. Okay. You rat bastard. Let's see. What are we going to... We need a couple of weapons. Oh, wait. We never painted this. Man, I'm all over the place. I know what the solution is. More fucking coffee. Yeah, I painted that thing, but I didn't paint this. Da, 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 da. Yeah, and as soon as he started posting, there would be people like, wow, I use this and it works better. Like, dude, give the guy some, like, you don't like something somebody posts? Like, some guy posted something. You know, he posted that stuff to help people out. You know, you don't have to thank him. You don't have to get on your fucking knees. But don't be like, don't discourage people from helping other people. You know, just like I did the hand sanitizer thing. Maybe people knew about the hand sanitizer thing forever. When I discovered it for me, I got to tell people about this because that's like incredible. That's like an incredible thing. And immediately somebody's like, I use rubbing alcohol. It works just as well. So I did it on one of my shows. I did it live. Let's compare it. It doesn't. You must be smoking something because a rubbing alcohol doesn't work the same way. I wish it did. It wouldn't, you know. But and the fact that that's gel is even better. Like it doesn't go all over the place. You know, you don't waste half of it. So, like when you post something online, the first people to post out, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that, you should have done the other thing. Well, you should have done it and like show pictures of what you did. Like I build things like the way I want to build them. I don't tell other people how to do that. Like, you shouldn't have painted that fucking green. And there's lots of stuff I don't like, but I don't go running my mouth about it. Like I said, the worst thing you could do for something creative like this is like dissuade somebody. This could be the one thing that keeps them from being a serial killer. You'd be like, man, I'm building this car, and then somebody like says something that you don't like about building the car. Like, fuck this, I'm gonna go murder you. You know, I mean, that's not me. I'm just saying, but that does set some people off. What happened here? I've never had this thing locked backwards. Interesting. There's always been linked back. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Chair's got a mind of its own. All right, this should dry pretty quick. I don't like keeping info to myself. You know? You know, when we're doing DBA videos, something cool comes out, I want to tell people about it. Not like, oh, we're going to put this in our back pocket so we use that in a tournament. We can pull it on somebody. Do you lose at life that often, every day, that you need to do things like that? I don't know. Maybe they do. Well, I know we have space for these guys. These little mini guns. Actually, they don't fit on their well. Nope, they don't fit on their well. What about this? I got these in the his and hers version. Meaning they've got the... It doesn't look like it belongs there. Okay. What else do we got? We got these little guys. I like using these for like 1950s type cars, older cars. They look a little bit more retro. Well, actually, it looks okay there. Got plenty of them? I got 3 total. No, I have 4 total. I think I'm going to use this. That looks all right, doesn't it? It's freaking deadly with a pair if a mini, and they can behave like mini guns. That's fine, or we can call them heavy machine guns. So where are we at on points on this? Buggy 6, power slide, that's 11. Handbrake artist 3, that's 14. Barrel roll is 16, so we're at 16 here. That's going to leave us 11 points. So if I do, if I call these heavy machine guns, that's going to leave me still with 5 points. So I could put like an SMG on it or something like that. I think I'm going to do that. 2 HMG equals 6 and 1 SMG equals 5. 12, 17, 22, 5. Yes. Okay, whiplash. All right, let's clean this thing up. Yeah, he was surprised that it worked on craft paint. Craft paint's not that shitty. It's really not. Oh, it's not very durable. I think if you try to scrape something with a fingernail, no matter what it is, you're going to get the paint off. You know, you need to be careful with these things. I mean, I know we all are. And stuff's going to happen no matter what you make it out of. You could use enamel paints. A couple little dots here. Yeah, it fits on there okay. And I'm really liking these helping hands. It feels like it dries a lot quicker. Like this one's good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one here. We're going to grab these by the barrel. Grab these by the barrel. And we're going to paint this black. And then we'll color match this to red. That's what color should be. Well, I had to do something last night in the garage. I think either Friday or Thursday, the wife took a picture of took a video in the back. We had a couple of black racer snakes that were having a good time. And I'm not a snake hater, but I don't want them in the garage where they're going to starve and scare the bejesus out of you. Although little black snakes are super cute, but they don't need to be in the garage. So I still had some peppermint oil spray. So I sprayed that, and like last night, it definitely smelled like a fucking candy cane out there. Peppermint oil spray. Yeah. So hopefully they get discouraged. I got that one time because we had a big old skink that was about this long, just a little lizard. It doesn't do anything. Okay, they just scare the crap out of you, or he could run in the house and then you got a problem, right? In the garage, not that big of a deal. They just don't need to be in there. You know, this is Florida. You're going to have critters in your garage if you leave your garage open. Definitely, for sure. And if you don't leave your garage open, like I do, they still could work their way in. But I got one neighbor that I drive by their house all, in it to get in and out of my neighborhood. They never, at night they do. But if it's in the daytime, the garage is always fucking open. Always. And it's not like it's not messy. It's pretty messy and it's open all the time. And they must have all kinds of stuff in there. Animals from the outside. Now, that's their problem. I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to be scared. Startled. Not scared. Startled. Yeah, I've laid my thumb open with an X-Acto knife once. It's not fun. it bleeds like crazy. It's funny because if you cut yourself, I mean, assuming it's not super deep, you don't even feel it. But it'll bleed like a gallon of blood will come out. And then when it starts healing, that's when it starts hurting. It's stinging, not really hurting. But, yeah, and if you get it on a finger, you can't put any pressure on it without reopening the wound kind of thing. What's up, Toe Man? You working today or are you on call? Toe Jam. Did you ever see Toe Jam? I think I showed you Toe Jam. Okay, so this thing, I'm going to glue it in place. And I want these droplets towards the bottom. Let's see what it looks like with the droplets towards the top. Just for yucks. Well, it doesn't fit. Because it's kind of slightly tapered. So let's leave these droplets towards the bottom. And I'm going to use the slow super glue. That way we don't have to work on it like, light yourself on fire and run around kind of thing. You on call? Yeah, it bleeds like crazy. It's just like, doesn't even hurt. I remember I was climbing on it a long time ago, back when I used to climb on trailers to check them. And I was climbing on a flatbed. And I climbed up on the tire, and I put my left hand, it had to have been my left hand, up on what they call the headache rack, which is a misnamed thing, but anyways, you know what that is, I'm sure. And my foot slipped, and I cut my hand like from here to here. Not very deep. Didn't even hurt. Bled out like crazy, That was a while ago. That's back when I jumped on trailers and jumped off of them. Nah, it ain't worth it. Nothing's that critical. It'll be all right if I don't do that. I was going to say back when I weighed half as much. Not quite. That would be anorexia. Only way I could weigh half as much in my size is I'd have to have AIDS. Yeah, this thing locked in place. It used to go, I wonder what's going to happen. Bah! Bah! Loud pop. Yeah, so the girls are gone for about 2 weeks. So we're going to get a lot of painting done, I would imagine, during that time. Come on. Not that I can't do any painting while they're here. They really don't. Honestly, I'd rather them be here. It keeps me in check from eating every single thing in the house. Okay. And this inside portion that you see in black was originally in orange. It's just like orange doesn't belong there. You're adding a color that's just adding, interference. Call it a headache rack because it keeps stuff from sliding in the back, causing you a headache. It would cause you more than a headache. It would cause you more than a headache. The thing on a truck I really dislike what it's called is a fifth wheel. Like, it's not a fucking wheel. Like, it doesn't turn, You were the one that told me what this vehicle was, and I finally painted it. It's ready. It's going to be ready to go here soon. This guy. You said it was like a 1961 something or another? This guy was bright orange. This is a cool vehicle. It almost looks like a tow vehicle. Try to keep it in your pants. And I don't know what we're going to do with it, but I think when we're done with it, it's going to look pretty cool. And I'd love to put a ram on it, but man, the front of this looks awesome. I've known a coworker to have wanged their head on it once to live up to the namesake. That sounds like a name for a good song. That sounds like a name of a song. Wang your head. What's that? It's when you get your head hit with a wang. No, let's not sing about that. All right, I have a feeling I should be able to glue this down and paint the rest of this stuff black because I can reach it relatively easy. So let's go ahead and take this. You're such a head wanger. That's how it's going to go. The weirdest thing I ever heard a coworker do, and it's somebody, well, they worked at the place that I work at, and then they left. And then they got bit by a brown recluse spider. And this person was they're an ex-forklift driver that was very dirty. Like, I'm not a very dirty person, right? I come home, first thing I want to do is shower. You know, if I smell, I don't smell. Like, I go, wear deodorant and stuff. This person did not have good hygiene. They could almost be a gamer. And they got bit by a brown recluse spider and lost their fucking leg. Which could happen to you anyways, but if you're dirty, it's definitely going to happen to you. And the worst thing about a brown recluse spider is, it looks like a regular spider. It's not like, a tarantula is the one that if it bites you, you'll have to have your leg amputated. Right? Because a tarantula looks kind of unique. It's easy to see. It looks like it doesn't look like any other spider. But a brown recluse spider looks just like a regular, spider, Doesn't even look as menacing as a wolf spider. I don't think I've ever seen one. But, you get bit by that, and your flesh eats itself. Or something like that. It's bad. Yeah, this pride of Dirty Dixie ended up losing his leg. Pride of Dirty Dixie. You know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, since I've subdivided everything and we can find our things now a lot easier, let's go find where our wangs are. Is there one? I don't think it's worth adding it to it. I think it looks just fine like that. Most of these vehicles are cool the way they come. That's why I bought them in the first place. Okay, we shouldn't have to touch where that glue is to paint the black. Because you don't want to put your bristles on super glue, or that's the last time you'll be using it for any kind of precision painting. Okay. Hoffman, you painting in these because they're fun to do? You want to play the game, or I'd build these even if I didn't play the game. But you gotta have some rules. Otherwise, you have some parameters of what to build them on. Otherwise, the sky's the limit. Keep yourself in check, type of thing. Great graphics on these. There's no reason to cover over those graphics. All right, this laser. I want the turret base to be similar in color to the car. Actually, I think that's the first thing that we need to do. We need to color match, or color match-ish, the color of the car. So let's switch this back out. Trying to read through the rule book so I can make a legit build out. Yeah. Well, once I found out that I wanted the cars in certain point categories, that made life a lot easier. And probably, why'd you pick 27 points? I don't know, because one of my cars ended up building up to 27 points. It was dead. What's it called? Leadfoot. Leadfoot was the car that designed everything. All right, this color here, it's a little bit of blue-green. It's a little blue-green, it's a little metallic. It's almost like this, but it's got a little bit more green in it, and it's metallic. What's this, blue-green? Isn't there a green-blue, like something like that? This is like a Miami Dolphins color. Let's start here. I don't think I have anything that's closer than that. Shouldn't need more of that. Intermediate green, just a tad. You really don't know what you're doing? Well, you've seen me not know what I'm doing a lot of times, so. Sometimes you just have to do it. You just got to jump in. And of course, a little bit of black. We don't do anything without a little bit of black. And a little bit of let's use the Viejo one. It's easier to apply. A silver. All right, let's see how close we can get to this. We can get close enough. Now, where'd she go? Here? You have a crossbow greeble, and I have a laser gun. It says a car has 2 crew and 2 build slots, but now you're talking about points. I know. If you left yourself, if you want to make a car 50 points, what you end up having is a car that has all kinds of stuff for every situation. In other words, it has no weak points. And that discourages you from building another car. I think. You know, it's like, oh man, this car is perfect. I don't need to build another. Ah, there you go. That's not good. Yeah, a crossbow would work as a harpoon. That's what I'm like. You could use it as anything, you know. But all right, let's build the main color here. And let's find an inconspicuous place to test it. That's pretty fucking close. That's really fucking close. That's really fucking close. Now, unfortunately, it's not going to cover worth a shit. Because this base color is really watery, but whatever. Let's give it another coat. You know, this is a factory color. They added these things and wanted to make it look like it belongs on the car. Greeble. I had never heard that until relatively recent. The other thing I had never heard, and I think I've mentioned this before, is people referring to their character as a toon. Like if you're like, you know, playing Diablo, oh, my toon. What toon? Oh, your character looks like a cartoon. No, it doesn't. And I read what the etymology is of it, and it doesn't make any sense to me. I've never called it that. Ever. Well, I hope you enjoyed the experience of building one. Wait for this to dry a little bit and add another coat to it. I mean, the only reason I stripped that Hako is because I wanted it to look like a Hayabusa. Other than that, the Hako I had was the red one. Honestly, the white one, they make it in 3 colors that I know of. The color you have, which is similar to this. A red one, which is the one I had. And a white one. I haven't heard toon in forever. I never heard it. It's a toon. What's a toon? I've always called it a character. Why would you call it anything other than that? But then I don't really go on bulletin boards for games, you know. I'm not so far. I didn't want to read a rule book. I just wanted to glue some weapons on and paint. But it has to make sense. Yeah, well, the first ones I built, I just built them, and then I wanna play what you see is what you get. It makes sense to me. It's an incentive to build cars in a different way that look a different way. You know, I've come to terms that, you know, I may want to put a gun that is a minigun, but it's not a chain gun. Well, how do you rationalize that? It fires really fast. You know, or it's got more damaging ammunition or something like that. But you can at least tell, okay, this has 2 guns forward. What are they? Oh, they're heavy machine guns or whatever, you know. And it gives you an incentive to build more vehicles if you commit. Because originally I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put magnets and we can swap weapons on. Well, that just means that you end up having 1 car for each car class. So how do you decide which cars you're going to buy? I mean, when there's like every car you look at has potential. Well, just fucking buy them all and just paint them, you know? And I do like the idea of like DBA, you have to play things a certain way. You know, not everything is the best thing out there. There's some things that just are not going to be the right thing in a certain situation. Okay, while that's drying, I'd like to put something white here to tie into the wheels. So, of all of the things that could be in white, I think the casing of the weapon. I think I'm going to dry brush it in the darkest metal first, and then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the housing in white, and that'll help tie in the colors. Because right now you just got white wheels sitting by themselves, look stupid. That's why you don't get white wheels. They look stupid. They look stupid to me. Sorry if you got white wheels on your vehicle. I saw one car. I don't know what car it was, but it was red and it had blue wheels on it. Notice I didn't say rims. It's incorrect. It had blue wheels on it. Looked like fucking Spider-Man. Now we're going to overpaint most of this. And I'm not even going to paint the end of it metal. Now we got something else that needs to dry here. I'll paint this little case of thingamabobs as well. Okay. And it's going to be a lot brighter than that. It's kind of the undertone. All right, how are we doing on this guy here? We got to find us a red. This is the one I'm thinking it is. Unless, what's Scarlet look like? Oh, Scarlet! It's kind of bright. See if we can do Scarlet with a little bit of black. Because originally it was kind of orange-like. I think this is the right one. Scarlet the Starlet. I was actually disappointed in the rules for the big game hunter. You can make your own game rules. You know, I think that I just don't want to create like unique weapons, but like other rules to other gameplay styles. I'm all for creating that. It doesn't matter. Everybody has to follow the same rules. So you could make like Big Game Hunter with, the creatures are different. I came really close to that second-hand shot, picking up a wad of dinosaurs. I had them in my basket, and I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do that. Get bogged down in other stuff. Gonna go eat some lunch. I know what I'll end up doing with these. Not in the mood to be reading a second rule book right now. Yeah, I don't blame you. Some people love to read. I've heard stories of people that, oh, this guy, a friend of mine, just buys rule books and reads them. I'm like, what a nerd. Oh, he just collects rule books and read them. No. Yeah, I had lunch before I got on here. I wouldn't pull you guys off. Although it's 12:15 there, it's a little earlier. You guys are on retarded time out there in Texas. What'd you call our time? I said you're retarded by an hour. Yeah, and I picked up last time I think I picked up a couple more Mexican vehicles. Not recently, but in the last grab. So I got one that's kind of like a dark orange with flames. So I'm looking to be some kind of habanero type thing, some kind of a flamethrower weapon. I don't really like a vehicle that has flames on it that isn't a flamethrower. It's confusion. So this hot chicken, whatever the hell this thing ends up being called, this is going to be a flamethrower vehicle, or you can throw napalm or both. You know. The guy sitting in the window kind of has like a clown face. I think that's just coincidence. He doesn't have any like crazy any crazy clown fro or anything like that, but. All right, this is dry a little bit. Let's come back to it with another coat of this, even if we have to mix it. Damn it, man. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's damn it, man. Yeah, that's pretty close right there. Let's kill this coffee. Let's get a little bit of this. A little bit of the primer. Now, I'm not a fan of reading rule books. I mean, it's not a. It's just a fact. Sometimes you got to do it to get some stuff done. But I'm not. I don't. I don't get a thrill out of that. I think I am going to make this truck a dragster though. I mean, it's just got a massive freaking engine. It's got a massive engine. Engine of unusual size. I was going to go shopping today to get, my weekly stuff for the week, and I'm like, I don't need to be tempted by buying. Well, I shouldn't say tempted, like I don't have any self-control, but I don't want any more vehicles right now. I'm good. I'm really good. I'm happy with what I have. I'm happy with what I have that I'm not working on right now. Lots of stuff to look forward to. More isn't better. Yeah, this is pretty freaking close on the color. All right, I think that is close enough. Let's get this color here. This does not look like a very old vehicle. So I'm not going to use the 10 bits color to make this look old. So we're just going to lightly dry brush this metal on it. Okay. And same thing with these machine guns. It's kind of an over-under type thing. The shape of those looks like something that would be on like a 1950s car. Like some Eisenhower car. Something with some big old wangs. They look great on Earl. What was it called? What's his name? Something Earl. I don't remember what his name is anymore. That's a 49 Mercury, I think. It's a 49 Mercury dragster. It looks great with these things on here. Okay, let this dry a little bit. All right, we needed to put the things on here that are going to be white or white-ish. So this build, this housing, I'm going to make that white. Okay, maybe not this part on the outside here, but this housing that is a significant thing, including the part on the back, we're going to make that white. So I'm going to go against what I normally do and not use a color triad, but I am going to do it on this time. So let's get a gray that we can kind of count on, kind of like a medium gray type color. What's the sky gray? I'm going to paint this in sky gray. I can't do it. I'll start with a sky gray though. Let's darken it a little bit. That way I can add some depth to it. All right, and this housing that we're talking about is, whoop, you go a little darker than that. This housing that we're talking about is right here. Okay, there's a couple little hoses or something like that. We'll leave that alone. Okay, now we're going to bring this up. It's a really cool looking laser gun, by the way. You're painting up some pulp interwar figures here. I'd forgotten how fun they are. You got a set of rules for them? I assume they're in 28s, right? There's a guy who passed away now. He always ran games at at conventions, at our convention, and he always did this pulp game. And he had different characters from different movies. Like you'd have like Flash Gordon, and he would have people you would know, and he would work them into some plot, and the boards were actually pretty involved. They had a lot of terrain on them. I guess they're 28 millimeter figures that he used, and pretty elaborate setups. What I didn't like about his game was that nobody could be killed. And I know why they do that, but basically, like, people can like die in the game, but then people sit around in a circle afterwards, after the game, and talk about and basically role play how your characters that you played survived if they didn't. And that was just a little too like I didn't like that. I don't. It was a little made me a little too uncomfortable. I don't mind role playing. I don't mind saying things in the character's voice that they would when they happened. But start getting a little too larpy for me. I'm like, no, no bueno. If you're larping with like really hot girls or something like that, maybe that's a little bit better. But that doesn't happen. I just get a little too nerd burglary. I said I don't have a problem playing fantasy or science fiction or stuff like that, but I want to do like light on the role play, like Hero Quest, right? And like when things happen, they're hilarious, but I don't want to, act out in a character. That's a too much. Pulp Alley. There's some guys that ran Pulp Alley at last Historicon I went to, and underneath the bases they were clear. So when they walked across stuff, it was clear. Now that is a good idea in practice. A good idea in theory, but in practice they're glossy. So they're always like walking on this pool of piddle. I thought it was kind of distracting, but yeah. And there was this other game. They always did like some zombie game in this scale with like these. I'm not sure what figures he used, but definitely it was like a lot of there'd be a lot of cars in that game, like a lot, and it was like a zombie survival type game. I think I only played it one time. It was one of those things that like they put the game out, but they put the game out like a week before the convention goes. So like you're already committed to play certain games, and then this game shows up, and you're like, well, I can't play it now, you know. All right, let me go get some more purple drink. That might be been the author as he does that. It could have been. Is it a guy in America? There's also a set of rules called 45 something. Like 45 caliber something, and it's like a free set of rules. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I'll be right back. from Oklahoma, Dave Phipps. That name sounds familiar. I just walked by his Pope something else. Pope. Pope. Figures. Rules. Free. Pope Alley. Okay. What's the character cards look like? See if it's the one I'm thinking of. It wasn't this one. There's some cool. There's some cool figures. There's some cool figures. You know, and I hate to say that I like really basic rules because I generally don't. But I really don't like playing rules incorrectly. That's really unsatisfying. So, like, this game, I would say, is pretty basic rules. But it's enough, if you've seen how I build the cars, that you can finagle enough different things to make them have some personalities. You know? Different customizing type thing. Okay, I feel like at this point, we need to dry brush this fucker. See what we can do with this. Okay? You know the colors here. And that ain't one of them. Bugger off. Chocolate brown. U.S. field drab. Is this Iraqi sand? Nope, dark sand. You bastard. Is it this one? Nope. That's the buff. It's always the hardest. Well, there's a lot of colors that look like almost the same as that. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. By stock in Iraqi sand. Kind of style. Bob Merch. Does he have a set of the merch? That really sounds familiar. It's pretty amazing people that can sculpt figures. I mean, I say that all the time. Like, that's the real heroes. You know. Oh, he's Canadian? African Kingdom, Steam Pulp, Imperial Germany. Imperial Germany. Far-flung French. That's a great name for something. French colonials and exotic outposts. Major Le Duc's enfants terrible. However you say terrible in French. Oh, this is fucking great. See, I can resist this because this is the wrong fucking scale. If there were 20s, I'd be in trouble. No, these guys are great. No, this is good. This is cool stuff. Savage Seas South Pacific Adventure. Holy smokes. Tramp Steamers. Yeah, baby. Tropical Castaways. Yeah, that's a cool game. He's from Canada, but I don't remember if he had his own rules. I think Howard Whitehouse ran some pulp games over stateside. I'm friends with Howard Whitehouse on Facebook. I'm not sure why. I don't play any of his games, but if somebody sends me a friend request, I generally accept it unless they look like a deviant, or you look on their page and all they do is look at they're explorers in search of hills to die on. I'm like, nah, I don't need that negativity in my hobby. White House. A lot of the minis are taken from TV, films, and books. Gilligan Island figures. And what was that one? Something of the gold monkey thing. The that gold monkey show, Tales of the Gold Monkey, or whatever the hell it was. I know they ran it for a couple seasons. I remember liking that as a kid. Riding the coattails of the Indiana Jones stuff. I need to watch that. What's it called? The Sea Wolves. I found out it was on Facebook, not on Facebook, on YouTube. And I've never seen it. They never showed it. Are there a lot of like pulp movies? I don't know. It just seems like it's kind of a plot that there's not a whole lot of information from. I mean, maybe the pulp stories and things like that, but there's not like a lot of movies that are like for that. I don't think so. I mean, 20s, 30s, that'll work. Even early 20th century. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so this is the actual wheels. Now, when these wheels spun around, they're going to splash a lot. Sir, splash a lot. What kind of? There's a bunch of vaguely timed movies around the northwest frontier and Central Asia. Well, does that count as pulp, though? Because, I wouldn't count Gunga Din as pulp. I just didn't think pulp was Victorian. I thought it had to be like 20th century, Chinese warlord, pirates, that kind of shit, Interwar. I always thought it was like interwar. I guess it could be like modern, because technically wouldn't, what's that movie that everybody likes and I'm not a huge fan of? I know that doesn't really narrow it down. Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China would fall as pulp, wouldn't it? Just interwar stuff really reduces it down. Jewel of the Nile, okay. Jewel of the Nile. What's Jewel of the Nile? You said Jewel of the Nile, I thought of Romancing the Stone. Not the same thing. Big Trouble in Little China, that's got to fall in there. Yeah, I'd have too much fun playing something like Chinese Pirates or something like that. I'm like, you fuck up now! You know, etc. You know, Hoffman was saying that he doesn't have the strength to read rule books, and I get that. The other thing I don't like is, I mean, I don't like things being really simple, but I don't like them being like overly complicated. And to give you an example, I'm going to talk about, I mean, we're talking about a video game, not exactly anything else, but the new Diablo. I'm an experienced Diablo player. And it hurts my head trying to figure out if you pick up something and it's actually better for you or not. Because there's so many factors now that just get exponential. It's not just like weapons damage. It's like, okay, this doesn't do more weapons damage, but it actually increases your critical chance higher by 12%, which in the long run actually does more damage. It's like, okay, it's too fucking complicated, right? It gets too complicated. I just don't like it when they just make things too complicated. And I'll tell you what, it was really interesting going back and playing. What was the game that everybody was raving about, and I finally gave it a chance? Path of Exile. I finally played Path of Exile and basically finished the game at the normal difficulty level. It's one of those you can ramp up to a bunch of different difficulty levels, but I played it at the easiest, and not the easiest, but the normal difficulty level. And, you know, people rave, oh, it's much better than I don't think so. But it created a type of gameplay that was very different than kind of the World of Warcraft kind of constantly things regenerating. Like if you a type of a game where like, all right, we got to go into this cavern, right? And you go into this cavern and you got to cut through the bad guys or, you know, the creatures or whatever. And as you're cutting through Jewel of the Nile's Romancing Stone sequel, it is? Well, that's why it sounded familiar. I don't think I saw it. You prefer to classify all the desert and jungle adventures together into what I call khaki adventure, khaki core. Okay. I like khaki shit. That's different. That's khaki cack. Well, you've got this room that you need to get through to whatever objective you have. And there's these creatures that are here, right? So you cut your way through and you're done. And because it's perpetual with a lot of different people in and out of your game, you're in this global game, they have to regenerate. Otherwise, you'd cut through them and they wouldn't be there anymore. And it's kind of annoying because it just makes you like not clear things, not being super anal about clearing things. When you play a game where it's like you're the only one in it, I'm real methodical. Like, all right, we're going to go follow this wall or around or clear this area, you know, so you do your objectives and things like that. And when you go to town, since you come back, things are still not in the area that you cleared out. So it's a lot more structured. It's not as chaotic. And the other thing I miss dungeons that are random. Dungeons now are no longer random. They always have this shape. What you find may be random, but it's just kind of like I miss some of the old stuff. But more than that, it's like, you know, after you played some type of game a long time, it's like you kind of already know what's going to happen. You know, it just ends up being about finding loot. And when you stop finding loot that could potentially improve you, it stops being as fun. Jewel. That's why I got it confused with Romancing the Stone. I don't think I'm going to add more than that on this dark color. It almost looks smoky, which is okay. What was that other movie that was like that? The Alan Quatermain movie, right? Indiana Jones, all the Indiana Jones movies. I guess I'd say that the most pulp movie of all the Indiana Jones movies has got to be the second one. And that's just because it's somewhere exotic. You know, it's over in China Station or... I've said one thing that would be really interesting would be, you know, and I've said this many times, is to do a Victorian time period that, you know, there's no alliances. You know, so you could have, you know, the British and the Germans together against, you know, the Russians or, you know, whatever. You could have all kinds of stuff like that. You know, the only bad thing about that period is just the lack of weapons. Is you've got rifles, you got pistols, that's it. There's nothing in between. You know, maybe you could have like Maxim machine guns or something like that. There's, you know, it's less equipment than I would like, but... It took me a long time to ever see 55 Days in Peking. And I watched that a couple of years ago, and I was genuinely disappointed in what it was. It was just... I expected it to be much better than it was. A case of one of those, you waited too long to see it kind of thing. Even stuff like Congo is there. Oh, you talking about that shit movie from the 90s? I don't think I saw that one. The one with Tim Curry in it, right? Isn't he in it? Who's going to play the dick? Tim Curry. You know, there's people like that all throughout. It's like, they never get to play somebody who's like reasonable. They always get to play like, oh, he's a prick. In the 80s, it was an actor named Ronnie Cox. If Ronnie Cox is in there, dickhead. Automatic dickhead. I think he's still alive. There's people that are like that. Now, they may have been some roles where they don't play the bad guy, but anytime I've ever seen him, prick. Walking prick. Yeah, most people are typecast. That's when you do something that's not typecast, like, you know, hey, let's put Harrison Ford in as a Russian sub-commander. It doesn't fucking work. Peter Fleming's book on the Siege of Peking was good. Is Ian Fleming's brother? Might be a good audiobook, huh? Don't you mean the Siege of Beijing? It took me a long time. When that switched over, it took me a long time to accept Pinyin stuff. And I don't like some of the Pinyin things, but I really don't like the Wade Gillies, or however you say it, apostrophes. That I find that that just breaks everything up. It looks just weird. You know, so instead of it just being Sao being CAO, it ends up being Tsao. You know, it's like T apostrophe SAO, T apostrophe SAO. It's like way too broken. I don't like it. It's a nice, easy paint job and build right here. Looks damn good, too. You know, but you leave people to complain about something, they'll find everything to complain about. You should replace the tires. Those have the little center thing that real tires don't have. I'm not gonna. The cost a fucking dollar. If you buy tires, the tires cost $11 fucking dollars. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense to me. That doesn't make any sense to me to spend that. Then that kind of money on it. It's not. It's not worth it. Okay. Drippings. Oh, drippings. We're gonna need to use some of the strong tone. And light soft at mid brown. The King of Bling. Bling King. I can't believe I forgot to pull out the Bandit car, that Trans Am. I have two of them. I don't know how I have two of them, and that's really weird because I never watched that movie until 3 days ago. I didn't see that movie as a kid. Rather strange. I think we're going to modify that car. I feel like I'm going to put knobby tires on it or something. And for a made-up vehicle, this is totally a made-up vehicle. This casting, it's not bad looking. It's a lot better now than when I first got my hands on it. Just had to tone down that red paint. Is just kind of wacky. All right, let's get a little bit brighter metal. Form of this one. And we got some headlamps to paint. They aren't very noticeable, but have any white here? We do not. We use the same brush right here. It's annoying hearing that over and over and over again. If it's annoying, why are you doing it? See? Exactly. Stop. It's kind of tricky to get in here. finally watched that video, that teaser for State of Decay 3. And I don't know that I'm that hopeful about it. It's got a lot of that, everybody's in the same world chaos. I don't know if I like that. All those people constantly in your game doing stupid shit, I don't know how I feel about that. Sometimes, having other people play in a game improves your experience. Sometimes it just ruins it. If you got the wrong people in a game, it'll just really ruin the experience. One of the games that I played that probably has the best experience of running into other folks that are in the world is, what's that virus game with The Division? the one that predated, what? The virus game. We're walking up a street and there'll be a gunfire going on with, other agents like you against the NPCs. It's not bad, it works pretty good. I think we're going to make the tips of those lights yellow instead of white. It looked pretty good as it is right now. This needs to be... This needs to be painted in black. So we can paint some silver on it. Okay, wait for that to dry. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good from my vantage point. Oh. Alright, let's look at this little kimchi dude right here. The kimchi killer. It just doesn't seem very... It doesn't seem like a very aggressive car. And doesn't have waifu in the name. I think waifu needs to be in the name for this Joker. The waifu wanker. No, I think this is going to be Wanker Man right here. This is the Wonder Woman. We're going to take the Wonder and the Woman off. Leave that W on there. It's going to be the Wanker. The Great White Wanker. Yep, I figured I hadn't gone up to that color all the way up yet. Yeah, there we go. Starting to take shape. Wind? This is not white, but it sure looks like it. It's just gray. I didn't even know that I didn't know that Ian Fleming had a brother. He never told me he had a brother. I actually have all the Bond novels on my Audible list. I've just never bought one. I think I'm not going to like them. They're all very different from the movies. And they're all in a different order than the movies are in of the given name. I don't think I'd enjoy them. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. And the other parts I didn't paint, that's because they're going to be metallic of some form or another. That looks pretty good. What did we leave on this dude here? That looks pretty damn good. For a cheap ass little car. Be right back. Gotta use the boys' room. Well, this guy's good to go. No, it's not true. False. False start. False start. False start. There's some kind of a fan here. Now we're probably done with it. Could probably just call it Jungle Whip, to be honest with you. But it's got Jungle Whip written on it. It's okay. It's not any better than, than Whiplash. Really? We're going to get rain again? Okay. Bring it. Bring all the rain today. Oh, yeah. Good. We need it. Little bits. Little bits of rain. Okay. This little guy. Let's remove this from here and see how it looks on the. That looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go spray this guy since he's ready to go, and we'll come back. I'm going to take a break probably for a couple hours, and then I'll come back and then we'll see about finishing the Kia tonight as well. All right, folks. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you guys.